Judd's Hockey Show.
That's right, Judd's Hockey Show. 3 times this week. Who needs the off-season? Overrated. So on the show that we did on what would be Thursday now, I gave you, AJ Fredrickson, my 10 most important Wild players currently, and also the 10 most important that I projected for this time next season. You are our prospect maven, though, and a guy that pays a lot of attention to who is coming up the pike. So you are charged with today giving me what you think will be the 10 most important Wild players a year from now, because I'm willing to bet they differ a little bit or a lot from what I had. So the floor is yours on where this team should be, hopefully still playing, by the way.
Yeah.
In May of 2026.
Okay, I do want to preface this. I set a couple rules for myself. One, I know yesterday you used placeholders. I decided I'm not going to use that because I feel like then I'm kind of weaning out some of the younger guys who might be having a shot to make the big club next year. And then also I'm just taking Marco Rossi out of the equation altogether because he's such a question mark. You don't know, so he is omitted from this list as of right now. I will say that.
Right. So I did, yes. So I put in a hypothetical center. I think I used Brock Nelson just to bug you yesterday, and I think I left Marco out as well. So yes, that all makes perfect sense.
All right. Number one, most important, this should not change. I know the contract stuff is potentially up in the air, but I expect it to get wrapped up. Number one, Kirill Kaprizov. Done. Easy, simple. I don't think we even need to talk about it too much. Number two, I expect this guy to thrive a little bit more because although I am not doing placeholders, I am expecting them to add some sort of additional winger here to help with depth scoring. And I'm thinking if there's going to be depth scoring, he's going to have a little more weight off his shoulders, but also by recency play, like bias there, his play should continue and we expect consistency. And if that happens, he's going to surge. He's going to get up to mid to high 30s in goals. I bet you he probably gets closer to a point per game type player. Number two, Matt Boldy. I think he's going to be set up to succeed a lot because he's just not going to have as much pressure on him. And this is also in a hypothetical where people stay healthy. You have a full roster all the time. But yeah, Matt Boldy, number two.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I also think while there were certainly times during the season that I criticized him, it felt like those periods weren't as frequent. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think knock on wood, I'm right here because if I'm not, it'll drive us both crazy. But the maturation, right, and what he did show, and he is, his success, no matter who they add, is paramount to this team thriving. So I think that's a very fair expectation.
To number three here, your guy, your future captain, Brock Faber. He's great on the blue line. I expect a lot of what we typically see for him to return here come next season. You got to expect that they will hopefully navigate the Olympic window a little bit better than they did with the Four Nations this past year. Yeah. But having him back at 100%, you're going to need him. And I don't think there's any question here now. I could probably hear, but disagree with some arguments this past year. Jared Spurgeon is still Jonas Brodin is still the best defenseman on the Minnesota Wild. No, I think this upcoming season will be no question, brand new pedestal all by himself. Brock Faber is the premier defenseman of the Minnesota Wild. Number three for Brock Faber.
I agree completely. And it felt like, Spurgeon, when he's healthy now, is still very solid. Brodin is too. Now that's the big thing is when healthy. It felt to me, I'm not sure how you perceive this, but I really thought for the majority of the season, even though there were times that Brock looked tired, that he was your best defenseman on a regular basis.
Yes.
Coming back from the Four Nations, he looked spent. And I actually thought his play picked up a little bit more in the playoffs. I don't know if that just gave him a little bit of a third wind or what, but I think that is a fair thing, and I think I put him second. So I agree completely. He is one of your most important players.
All right, so at this point of the year, next year, this player, Eriksson Ek, number 4. will be the fourth ranked most important player in the Minnesota Wild. Like I said, I'm not doing placeholders, but I am expecting them to do something. They've made it quite apparent that they're going to look to add some sort of 1 or 2 center here in the offseason.
Yep.
With that, I do expect, just by overall, like he was the most important guy this year up the middle when healthy. Like Marco Rossi obviously stepped up, but when Joel Eriksson Ek was healthy, he is your number 1 center. You saw that in the playoffs. You've seen what he can do for Team Sweden. But if they're going to add another guy at that caliber-ish, like whether it's slightly below or even a better center, his role just simply is going to step back. Like you're going to be taking like 1,000-foot view and say, you know what? Maybe he's not as important. Obviously, I think we know that that'll be like a in the moment, whatever. He might have a bad game. You know, maybe he's not the number 1 center anymore, blah, blah, blah. He's still going to be a fantastic player. He's still going to be out there killing penalties. He's going to be a great two-way guy who probably should be in like Selke nomination or at least contention or something like that.
Yep.
But his role will just naturally step back. So Joel Eriksson Ek, number 4.
And I think it should step back.
Yes, because you need him healthy too.
Yep. So I think, yes, if you allow him, if he is centers the second line and that line is productive because you've got a guy who can play center on the first line, I think that is a perfect world. I see no problem with him taking a step back in like the role because I'm with you. That doesn't affect his importance.
Yeah. Number 5 here. This is a guy where maybe I've been swung by like the past 48 hours, but I'm watching him play for the red, white, and blue, and he's drawn penalties. He's out there on the power play, crashing the net, putting it in the back of the net. 5, Zeev Buium, the star boy on the blue line. I really expect him to come in, have a monumental shift on what we've seen for like a snooze fest of a power play, but also now that he is going to have a full off season where he knows there's no question you are going to be on the NHL squad. He's going to work out. You got to hope that him and probably David Jiricek this offseason are working together to nail down some defensive deficiencies. But I think he's going to come as like a 5-tool type of guy next season and really surprise people with just how good he is on the blue line for the Wild.
Okay, and if he does make some mistakes or has a bad game, can we please not send him to the press box or not bench him because there's the new flavor of the month of, you know, the Zach Bogosian. Can we please just allow him to grow? Because, you know, in watching the World Championship game that you're talking about, that the U.S. was playing in, he draws a penalty. He scores a goal. Is he going to be perfect defensively? We've talked about this. The answer is no. You need to put him with the guy who is very good. But for the love of God, can we not say, well, man, Zeev, you made a couple of mistakes. You are a -2, so you're not going to play on Saturday against the Penguins. So, yes, I am with you. I think his importance. Here's the thing. They need to decide his importance is what you just said. So it can't be like they would be the ones that would devalue him, in my opinion. He won't devalue himself, and he's not a man yet. He's not big enough yet. No. There are certain things, but you put him with a Faber, you put him with somebody who can stabilize him, Spurgeon perhaps, I don't know, and you let him go. And yes, special teams, power play. How nice would it be to see it be dynamic? We're not asking for much. So, okay, we're through 1 through 5. 6 through 10 brought to you by our friends at Rula. Guys, I want to talk to you. Sports Dad wants to tell you, I know it's tough to go to people for help. I know that there are times when things don't seem good and you suck it up and you say, I'm going to power through this. And I'm going to tell you right now from firsthand experience, that's not the right move. It's in our DNA for men to think that we can handle things. And oftentimes what we need for our friends, our family, is to go talk to somebody because that is going to help us help them. Rula is where that comes in. 15,000 therapists nationwide, accessible and personalized for you, in network for most major insurance providers. The typical copay, only $15 per session. You can join the thousands who have used this. Rula works. Just go to rula.com/Judd. So that's rula.com/Judd. DD. That's right, Sports Dad's name. And when you sign up, they're going to ask you how you heard about them. You can tell them, and this is where you can support us, that you did hear about them on Judd's hockey show, Rula.com/Judd. Connect with a licensed therapist who can help you, because that's going to help you help the people around you. Rula, give it a try. You'll be glad that you did. All right, so Kaprizov, Boldy, Faber, Eriksson Ek, and Buyum are 1 through 5. Give me 6 through 10, Age.
I feel like I got through 5 and I was kind of just motoring along, and then I got to like 8 and I was like, wait, I'm forgetting somebody kind of monumental here. He had a really good season. He's going to be the no doubt lead again next season. Philip Gustafson, number 6. Like it's hard to ignore it, but also I'll take your point yesterday. There's such a fluctuation in goaltending. There's a probably an argument he could get up into the top 4. Like if he is really on, and like a Connor Hellebuck, like he's starting 60 games, Wallstedt's just a head case, you need to lean on him type of thing. But also he could probably, he could drop out of the top 10 altogether. So we'll throw him at 6. I feel like he has to be on this list, especially after how good he was this past season.
Yes, I came to, when I did my list, I thought the same thing. Which is like, I can't dismiss what happened 2 years ago completely. Right. And it feels like the comparison that I would make for goaltending is relievers in baseball, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this guy's lights out, he's going to be back, and he comes back, and he's like, meh. So, yes, he has to be on the list, but it does present more of I think it's the one position where you're not as sure. Like, 1 through 4, and assuming Buyum's growth, you're pretty locked in 1 through 5. You feel good about that.
Yeah.
Goaltending always makes you nervous.
All right, 7 spot here, and this is the last of the elder guard, I would say. Okay. Number 7, Matt Zuccarello. He's still going to be a fixture, I think, for the Wild next season. He's still going to be a source of production, but if you're adding people, similar to what I think you're going to have with Matt Boldy, where it's not going to be like as much pressure on him, so he's also going to be allowed to produce more, because there's going to be more defensively like the spread allocated for the opponents to make sure, okay, we have to focus on 2 lines, not just 1. So it's going to open up more opportunities. I think that's going to be the same case once again here, but also for Matt Zuccarello. He's still playing very good hockey for his age. It's not regressing, I think, as fast as you would expect for a guy who's nearing 40 now, but I think he will take a step back, but he still remains in the top 10 because, frankly, best friends with Kirill. He's probably going to still get power play time. He's going to have production. It's hard to say he's just going to be out of the top 10 completely. So, number 7, Matt Zuccarello.
I knocked him down to 9. I considered knocking him off, but for some of the same reasons you just mentioned, I did not. You know what? I'm a little bit surprised that, not that he's in your top 10. I'm surprised you put him higher than I did.
I think there's question marks for the next 3 guys as to what their ceiling actually is. Whereas sure. I know exactly what I'm probably going to get next season with Matt Zuccarello. Yep. I'm going to get a talented playmaker who's not going to go to the front of the net, so he misses like no time. Whereas these next 3, and I'll cheat here. Maybe 4 guys, because I do have a 50-50 for 10.
Mention. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, you know what, too? Zuccarello is he's old, but he's also incredibly smart as well. So like he does bring intangibles. Yes. So he definitely makes sense here. I guess my question is, 1, is he going to go off a cliff, which is possible at his age? And I think next season might be it. Not quite sure. So okay.
So he might want to go out with a bang, like kind of a swung song, not just
begging to play with Kaprizov.
Exactly. Number 8, you willed this into your top 10 yesterday, and I think there's a case where you're exactly right as why. David Jiricek, number 8. He's got size. He's got offensive ability. You traded a haul for him only to have him come over and just kind of kick his legs up in the press box for what felt like a week and a half or so before he eventually got sent back down and then hurt. He will be a guy that I think, with the work this offseason, with getting back to 100% health, he will be an everyday NHLer. I don't think he's going to be a top pairing guy by any means next season, but he will be one of the bottom 6 for sure in that defensive core, but an everyday guy as long as he's healthy. He really fits the mold that I think on paper, Bill Guerin and the rest of the Wild want. Mentally, I think it's going to be interesting to watch because there probably is a weird kind of confidence thing where he didn't really do much in Columbus. Wild traded for him. They lauded him up. Like they put him on this kind of, hey, we want to fast track him here, but also we want to make sure he's confident. And then he really didn't do anything to get him that confidence before he got hurt. So hopefully a fresh slate resets things for him mentally. But I think on paper, he has everything else that the Wild are looking for. And like I said, from my understanding, he's going to be staying here or being in Connecticut, working with some defensive coaches all off season. So hopefully that irons out the defensive lapses in this game.
You saw some flashes in that when they brought him up the first time and actually played him.
Mm-hmm.
You saw some flashes, and it was enough to say, I sort of get this. I mean, the size is enticing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like with Bouillon, I'm sure defensively on film, you're going to see things that you're like, well, we need to fix this, blah, blah, blah. But that being said, in both cases, first of all, these kids are the future. Second of all, in Eriksson case, in Bouillon's case, I think he just should play. I think he's going to be very good. In Eriksson's case, if you gave up that much and you're like on the fence, then something's gone very, very wrong. Like you got robbed by the Blue Jackets. So yes, I think in both cases, you've got them appropriately ranked to the expectation of the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the kid, the coaching staff. It's important that the kid succeeds. It's important the kid works hard, as Bill Guerin talked about at his end of the season presser on Eriksson. I get all that. But it's also equally as important that they get the leash to play. Because if they don't get the leash to play, what are we doing here?
I understand the shorter leash in the playoffs. Like you saw Ziv get the yank after two games.
For John Merrill. Yeah, exactly.
For John Merrill. But when we are heading into the 25-26 season, if they mess up on a early October evening against San Jose.
Correct.
You know what you do? You say, hey, here's what we're going to work on. Grab the iPad. We'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow, but then you're going to be out there again. Like you have to give these guys some time to play. And speaking of guys that are going to need time to play, I'll take you to number 9.
Nice.
Maybe fresh new toy, but Danilia Yurov, Russian center, can also play wing. I think that he is going, like, once again, sort of the toolkit, but he is the Wild's second best prospect heading into next season behind Ziv Bouillon. He is talented. The stuff that he did over in the KHL cannot be dismissed, but also it is kind of like I feel like the stats over there always come with an asterisk because it can either sway where he was underperforming and now he just explodes, or he was put in a situation to succeed because of different like weird developmental stuff. And now
politics.
Yes, it's very.
Sometimes you play, sometimes you don't play. If you think about the wrong thing, you do not play.
And if you say the wrong thing, you get traded to a Siberian team and you never heard from again.
That's exactly right.
But no, he's a versatile guy, and if anything stays true about last season into next year, it's that this team is going to get hurt. And his versatility, I think, is going to put him in a position where he will get elevated, and I think because of his skill set, will succeed. There will be probably a slow out of the gate like adjustment period, but I think once he really hits his stride, you're going to say, wow, it's so nice that you have this guy in your middle six, whether it's third line center, or if he gets shifted to the wing for a night. I think you're going to be really surprised just how smart he is, because I don't think his shot necessarily will wow you. His playmaking ability, I think, is very good, but it's his off puck ability to always be in the right spot that you're going to say it'll continuously put him in chances to to succeed and get on the board. It's whether or not he finishes on those, and I think more often than not he probably will.
Where do you? So he's got them by the whats, because if they send him down now, maybe he would agree to go down briefly, but he's certainly not going to agree to an extended stay in Des Moines because he's got the ultimate hammer of, I'm one of your top prospects, I can go home.
Yeah.
So opening night, where do you see him? What position and what not line mates, but what line do you see him on?
I see third line center. He is
So new guy, Eriksson Ek, Yurov?
Yes. I could maybe they can try him out as the wing, but I know Bill Guerin has said like the plan is to have him at center. It'd be similar to like Liam Ogren being on the fourth line where they just have too many cooks in the kitchen. We have to put him there, but I feel like his minutes would be wasted because that's just not his style of game. He has a pro level build, but it's not like he's the most physical guy out there. He's not afraid to play physical, but third line until he gets maybe a better footing, and then probably he could be a second line guy in his career.
So Hartman, Goudreau, fourth line center, Hartman on the wing.
I think so.
Okay.
Which I'm fine with.
Johnny Hines going to say, I want Urov on the wing and I want Hartman at center. That's what he's going to say. More responsibility.
And that's where I just don't know about Urov's face-off ability. I know that he struggled with it on his initial move. I want to say 2 years ago from the wing. I don't know how good he is yet. So if he goes into camp and he's just an absolute disaster in the dot, then yeah, maybe he gets bumped out and Hartman will slot
don't forget too, a wing can take the face. Like we see that.
Yeah.
Like it, because it's your strong side a lot of times. So like I don't think if you're on a line that doesn't and you have a guy who is, well, the problem is beyond Eriksson Ek, they're not good in the dot. But anyway, like you could have Hartman take strong side face-offs.
Yes.
And Urov could still be the de facto center. So
yeah, him in the middles, he facilitates well and he tracks back more than enough to where that style of play suits him better than playing on the wing. So
your list in at least three guys, Buyam, Juracek, Urov, has at least three guys where you are literally challenging the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And saying you need to play these three guys.
I think those guys have to play.
Yep. I agree completely with you.
Number 10, and I said it earlier, little cheater here, but this is a two-parter. Number 1, if his mind is correct and he has confidence and he comes fully reset, Jesper Wallstedt. You cannot be at one point one of the top, if not the top goalie prospects in the world and just lose it one season. Goaltending, you are kind of on an island there, so I understand being a head case at times. He's young. Like, he is a kid. I don't expect him to be this impenetrable mental wall for his entirety of his career. There's going to be some learning curves. But at a certain point, too, as a guy who is a professional in the National Hockey League, or wants to be at least, you're going to have to refine and retool and reset. He needs to do that this summer. He is a guy that I think they said is planning to stay the entire summer here, either in Minnesota or just in the States, to like work on things, hopefully get his mind a little bit right and get back into more of a professional, go to work every day mindset. And probably he needs it more than anybody after the vein he cut open the locker room, I want to say early last season. So if he does refine some confidence, I do think that he will be the 10th most important person, because he needs to show, one, that he can be a viable backup to Gus, but also that he is the guy that they traded up for and can be, once again, goalie fluctuates. It's like a reliever, but they're also with the reliever thing, okay, if Prime Araldis Chapman goes out there, he's probably striking out at least a guy. Like, he's not going to go out there and just give up, meatballs to everybody. Wallstedt, I think, is a guy where if he does return to that prospect he was, he's still your goalie of the future. You don't have to really worry about that too much. If he doesn't, though, the next guy that I do think I would like a look at, if he doesn't get traded this offseason, would be Liam Ogren. Because there is a world too where the Wild just get outbid or cannot make any sort of move to acquire any sort of like talented winger.
I left him out, and I probably shouldn't have. So this is a good one.
If they sign somebody of like value, I probably think once again there's just too many guys up there, and then you're going to bury him in a spot that doesn't suit him well. But if not, because we've seen it before where they just they get outbid, that it doesn't work right, like they kind of just get out talked or whatever. Liam Ogren might have to step up into a much more crucial role than maybe a lot are expecting right now, because he still, I think, upside, like people have talked about him getting to like Brock Besser-esque levels. Like that is his like ceiling. Yep. But his skating is still very questionable at times. Like in transition, he's just not as good. His shot for a guy who's been in the AHL like all last season is very, very talented. It's above average by far. He's definitely an above average shooter and would be in the NHL, but his skating is questionable. If he can work on that, I bet you he's in a much better slot, but he is similar to Urov, I think, wasted fourth line. So you would have him on a third line, but I really think if he worked out some of the kinks with his transition game.
Yep.
He is a second line winger, and he
Right.
is going to score goals.
Perfect role. He takes Johansson's spot, right?
Yes, that's without
Second
signing a free agent. Yes.
Yeah, well, and that's true. Yeah, you know what? I should have had him. I didn't. But I do think that you're right. I do. I won't be shocked if he's traded. I would say if he actually sticks with the club and plays well. I'm not saying goes great guns.
Yeah.
Ideal world, he probably flips spots in your list with Zuccarello.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like
I think it's an interchangeable role for sure.
Yep. So I'm not asking for a ton, but yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So if you had to make a choice, who would you put at 10? Who would be your 10?
I think just for the sake of you can find any backup Slappy to like replace that if needed, I'll go Ogren 10. Okay. Like I'll lock him in at 10, but as much I think it's more just I want to root for Wallstead. Like it's
absolutely.
As a guy who seems very easy to root for, like
right.
He seems like a very good guy.
Right.
I would love to see him refine his game. But if we're looking at it from the business side of things, and I have to make Liam Ogren, number 10.
Awesome stuff, man. Okay, so Kaprizov, Boldy, Faber, Eriksson Ek, and Bouillon are your projected 10 most important players at the end of next season.
Yes.
6 through 10, the Gus Bus, Zuccarello, Juracek, Yurov, and Ogren.
Yes.
Good stuff, AJ. And again, 3 episodes. What more could you want of Judd's hockey show this week? The Wild's not playing, but guess what? We are on the ice almost every damn day. Why? I'm not quite sure, but we are. All right, he's AJ. I'm Judd. We'll talk to you later.